forth for that. So, with that in mind, let's bring on our guests, shall we? Why don't we bring on Jordan and Stan if you guys want to come on? Jordan, I'll let you do some introductions with our guest, Stan, and then you guys can kind of take it. First of all, let's start with what do you think of Ryan's little announcement there? What'd you think of that?
That's pretty darn exciting, Ryan. Yeah, that's cool. He's he's the best.
He is the best. That's fun.
Yeah.
Walter, the attention was all on you 2 weeks ago. Ryan just stole it from you.
Yeah,
He's the
take
guy's
it
the rock
back.
star now.
I had my 15 minutes of fame. I'm good.
That was actually kind of for Walter too, because together we're brothers in Vader. So
That's true.
Thank you, Ryan.
That's
That-
true. Yep.
that's right.
Well,
All
hey
right, Jordan,
everybody.
take it away.
Yeah, thank you. Hey Cody, Walter, Dave, thank you. I've got my new friend Stan Holden on with me. Some of you might have heard Stan's name at some point in your life. He's kind of a famous dude, but this is his book. He wrote this book called "Giving Candy to Strangers," and we met. I'm going to tell my version of the story, and then let him embellish on it a little bit. But I was up in Jerome. This is you never know who you're going to meet and when you're going to meet them, as long as you're open to it. You've got to be kind of open to just meeting people wherever you happen to be. I was in Jerome with, I think I was with a couple of people. I don't even remember who I was with. Yeah, I don't remember who I was with. But anyway, I must have said to them something like, I've got my BNI meeting tomorrow. And he heard me say BNI and he knew what that was. And so he said I couldn't help. He stood up, came over. It was like literally right next to me at another table. Came over and said, hey, I kind of overheard your conversation, and I'm a networker. And he handed me the bookmark to his book, and that's where it all started. And I'm going to let Stan, you can embellish on that a little bit, and let everybody know how it kind of rolled out for you.
Well, sure. My fiance and I love doing road trips, and I had been to Jerome before, and we went up there to just do a late lunch. And I don't know if everyone is familiar with Jerome, but it's pretty much an old ghost town or former ghost town that's now a neat tourist place with art studios and such. But it's built on the side of a cliff for the most part. And so all the buildings there tend to be rather small. So we said, hey, let's get some Mexican food. So we were sitting there, and uh, part of the story might be a little different than what you just said. Jordan was about a foot away from me. My elbow, if I was reaching for the salt, I would have hit him probably.
Yeah.
And in my book, I talk about practicing what they teach their cast members at Disney to do in passive listening. So I wasn't technically eavesdropping, but you were right there. It was hard not to hear. And I always carried my bookmarks with me because you never know when you might need them. You got to throw a dart, hit the dartboard. So as we were getting ready to leave, I heard the BNI name, so I put the bookmark down there in front of Jordan. And as I turned around to leave, he says, "Hey, come here, Stan." He saw my name on the bookmark, and he says, "We have some synergy here." And what's that? He says, "Have you ever heard of the book called Beach Money?" And I said, "Well, of course. Who hasn't?" It's like, wow. I would love to aspire to be part of Beach Money. And George says, "I wrote that." And my eyebrows went up a little bit for a moment. And I said, "You're Jordan?" He said, "Yeah, Jordan Adler." And my first thought was, I didn't voice this at the time, was why are you in a ghost town in Arizona? I was kind of thinking. And one thing led to another. We got together a week later and we really hit it off. And I had heard about Send Out Cards years before, doing all my other endeavors. And with my book being heart-centered and it's all about people and being purpose-driven, and putting people before profits, and at the same time, by default, raising your bottom line because of that. That's a big part of my book. It really struck a chord with me how not just the company, but how humble Jordan is in terms of what he has accomplished, you know. It very refreshing. And then when I dug into the company further, I got the same feeling. And I thought, wow, now this I want to be a part of. This is what I'm about. This is what my brand is about. And I dug further and I said, yeah, I'm going to jump in and start seeing what I can do here with send out cards.
Yeah. So Stan and his fiance Jen, they expressed interest, and so we set up a Zoom, and I followed textbook. I mean, you had watched the videos. I think I sent you the videos first, right, Stan?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
And you and Jen together watched the videos, and
Yes.
she was even a little skeptical, if I recall.
Yes, but it had nothing to do with send out cards.
Right.
Let's just say we all have our baggage from years before, and some prior companies might have given her a little baggage, to put it
Yeah.
politely. So,
But after,
yeah,
Stan texted me one night after we met for lunch the second time when we actually sat down, the two of us. Actually, the first time it was me and you, and then the second time was me, you, and Jen together.
yes.
Yeah,
And we
we went up to the
had
asylum.
dinner.
And
Yeah,
by the way, Stan lives in the same town of Judy as Judy O'Higgins, Prescott, Arizona, on the other side of the mountain. So they come to Jerome quite often. We'd never met before, and so after all that, I think did I invite you on to one of the webinars at some point? I think I did.
yes,
Yep. So
yeah,
I did the textbook stuff. Like I texted Stan and Jen. I texted Stan and Stan said, one night when the timing's right, I'm gonna sit with Jen and I'm gonna show her the videos, and they watched them together. And then I invited them onto the webinar, and they were on the webinar. And then at that point, we set up a Zoom, and Stan signed up full impact with the membership with the $47 advance, correct?
yes.
Yep.
And I've been sending out cards right and left.
And how long ago did you sign up?
Gosh, it's been about 2 weeks, maybe,
Yeah,
something
two,
like
three
that.
weeks, 2 or 3
Yeah, 2 or
weeks.
3 weeks.
And I'm real excited to tell you that Stan on Saturday signed up his first full impact consultant and with a membership, a realtor. Can you talk about how that all came to be? Like you've been prospecting like crazy in the past couple of weeks. You've been reaching out to a lot of people, sending a lot of cards. Talk about all that, and how that led to your first consultant.
Well, my mind, the way I work anyway, is a bowl of spaghetti because I'm an artist, right? I'm very non-linear. So I'm very good at connecting the dots, whether it be people or ideas or people and ideas. So as I learned more about send out cards, I started connecting, who would be benefit from it, who would like it, who might want to use it as a product, who might want to come in as a consultant and be a leader of more consultants, that sort of thing. And I kind of prioritized all of that. And the lady, I won't say her name right now, but that I brought in, she's very decisive, which is great. There wasn't a lot of explaining to do other than, wow, this looks like something I can really use. And she jumped on board rather quickly, and we're working with her now, just get her up to speed, and to get her sending out more cards
So
and
what
so
did
on.
you do? What did you do to get her interest? Was it just a conversation, or did you send her the videos? Did she watch the videos? Any of that?
I told her the exact story about meeting you, uh, almost verbatim.
Yeah.
And then as that related, because she's read my book too, so that she likes to read self-help books. That was part of it. And I've known her now. She was a realtor for our house, so I've known her now for about 3 years.
So you
And
were you were in California, and you hired her sight unseen in Prescott, right? To get you.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. As a matter of fact, that kind of relates what gave me the idea that she would be all over send out cards. Actually, it was Jen's idea as well. She says, you oughta because she was Rhonda's very good at sending out cards, just cards or anything. And before I left California, I got a Christmas card from her, just say, "Hey, how
Mhm.
you doing?" And we'd met online on one of the real estate websites or something. And she stayed in touch by sending these cards.
Yeah.
And I thought, my gosh, if she could automate that a little more, that she'd really be onto something because she's really into doing that. And obviously, she,
And she didn't hesitate at all. Like we were on Zoom for just a few minutes and she was ready. She was like, she wanted to do full impact and a membership. No questions asked. I mean, she just was ready to go.
Yeah, well, I did give her a brief overview. I have a lot of the bullet points in my head,
Yeah.
the highlights. And one of the ways I operate, I actually have a chapter in my book about this. Tony Robbins always said that let your prospect determine your presentation. So, in the sense that it depends on the personality. And I know that she was a nurturer, for instance, and I knew there were certain things, bells and whistles, the other reason she'd be all over this company because it's the whole philosophy is about nurturing, really, with the gratitude and such. So that had a big part of it. And I kind of filled her in on all those parts before I got into the technical, logistics of how you do it all.
Yeah. Yeah. I I uh I was really surprised because Stan gave when we met up in Jerome, he gave me a couple of his books and he gave me this book, Giving Candy to Strangers. And I got to tell you, this is one of my, and I'm not just saying this because he's here. He's heard me say it. I also said it on Facebook. This is one of my favorite of all time. Like all the books I've read about networking, this is one of my favorite. The chapters are two pages each. It's Giving Candy to Strangers, 2 or 3 pages each, and every chapter is filled with stories and lessons, and it's so good. In fact, I was really surprised. I took a picture of the page and I sent it to Stan. As I'm reading the book, I get to the page where he talks about how he meets people, like exactly how we met in the restaurant. Like it's I don't know what chapter it was, but it was early on in the book. He teaches that. What he did in the restaurant, he teaches it in his book. And so he practices what he preaches. And when I was reading the book, every page I'm thinking to myself, uh, promptings was made for Stan Holmes or Stan Holden and Stan Holmes, actually.
Yeah, him too.
Whoever that is. No, promptings was made for Stan Holden as I'm reading his book. Like it's so in alignment. Everything in it is so in alignment with what we do. So Stan texts me and I like it. I want you to keep doing it, Stan, as long as you want to do it. Stan texts me anywhere from 3 to 10 times a day.
Oh my, I didn't.
Which is great. No. I'm saying it because I like it because he's engaged and he's
Yeah.
always telling me about new people that he's prospected and people that he's talked to about it and people that he's going to want to set up a Zoom with me on and all that. He's very active. How many cards would you say you've sent out? Like you're sending out cards every day. How many cards do you think you've sent out?
No, I think I've done 2 dozen at least in the
Yeah.
last week or the last 2 weeks, about two
Yeah.
dozen. I've,
Okay,
I've
good.
got a pile that I still have to do,
So you got a
but
list of people that
yeah,
you're working
yeah.
through. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a
And
big believer in, from my past experience, in keeping your downline excited, but also keeping your upline excited. Letting them know what you're doing, you're in the trenches, but being humble enough to ask questions. You obviously know what you're doing. I'm just learning here in terms of the company and such. So,
So I created a card that just lists ways that a long time ago I did this years ago. I created a card that lists different ways that realtors use send out cards. And so when we were on with her, I I sent her that card. I actually sent her that card. She had already signed up, but I sent her that card. Well, Stan knew that because I told her I was going to do it. Stan said, "Would you send me that card that has the 10 different ways realtors use send out cards?" And I shared it with him from my campaigns. So I clicked the share button on campaigns. I put in his username and hit send, and I sent it to him. And then I told him to click on alerts, and then he could save it to his campaigns. Well, he didn't. He's never done a campaign, and he didn't even know really that. I mean, he knew you could do it, but he hasn't even done a campaign yet. So that's how he learned. So he sent me some text messages like about what he's learning, and it's awesome. So anything from your book that you feel like would be beneficial to the like any stories you've got or anything just off the top of your head that you think would be beneficial to a send out cards consultant that wants to build a business?
um, chapter 23 in particular, it gets back to what I was just saying before about talking the language of whoever it is you're talking to. And this isn't just about sales. This is in relationships, period, whether it's your friends, your family, your kids. When you speak to them, not from what you think they want to hear based on your own self, but what they want to hear based on their own personality. That is a game changer in communication. Um, Being authentic and real, that's a big part of. I have a chapter called "Do What's Right When No One's Looking." Some of the stuff, a lot of the stuff actually is common sense. I think the reason the book resonated with so many people is I packaged it in a way that touched people's hearts. And it wasn't just bullet pointed. It's obviously very story driven, but it's in a way that's interesting and it pulls them in and they kind of go, wow, I think maybe I can work on that and use those tools. In terms of a story, oh my gosh. Uh, I'm working on another little side book right now. I'll tell you a quick little story. This happened years ago, but it relates to the philosophy of how I work and how I met you. I was driving down the road one day. This is 15 years ago, probably, and I was involved in another company, a travel company, actually. And I saw these workers standing on the side of the road with their, bright orange vests standing there looking at fresh painted, sidewalk, street or
Cross, yeah, cross,
crosswalks.
yeah, crosswalk.
All three of them were just standing there looking at the crosswalks. They weren't saying anything. They had their hands on their hips. And I pulled up in front of them and I looked in the mirror for a little bit, and they never moved. So I got out, I ran over there, and I stood there with them for a moment, and I said, "Are you guys actually really standing here watching paint dry? Because if you are, you need to look at my business." And I gave all three a card. And today, one of them, this guy got back to me, is not only somebody who joined my business at that time, but is still a friend to this day. That was what, 15 years ago. Um, when I speak, I tell a story. I won't tell you the whole story right now. As a matter of fact, I sent Cody, if you got the fork, did you happen to get the fork, Cody, with my book? If you got the,
Yes, I did. I just
okay.
got that package. So yes, I did. Thank you.
I
By
won't
the way.
tell the whole story, but when I speak, I tell that story. And it's pretty over the top. I talk about it in my book. Usually when I speak, and I've spoken like to, 200 real estate executives before, and they kind of scratch their head after I tell the story and they think, oh my God, this guy's got to be nuts if he's doing stuff like this. And then at the end of the story, I explain why I told him, right? I'm not necessarily saying you should go out and do this. You want to push your own comfort zone to what you're comfortable with. But it's really to illustrate how important getting outside of your own comfort zone is in terms of meeting people, sharing your gift with the world, your purpose, whatever that happens to be. It's all related. To me, sales is not sales. It's sharing and purpose.
That's great, man. Love it. I just finished the chapter, by the way, called Practice the Care and Feeding of Celebrities.
Yes, yes.
And he tells about how he met a couple of very famous people just randomly, kind of like how we met. Again, you have to be open. Like, I don't meet people like Stan every day. It just happened because I was open to it and we happened to be in the same place at the same time. And, it just was meant for us to meet. But he talks about meeting Hugh Jackman and Olivia Newton-John. Man, can't believe you met Olivia Newton-John. She was like, yeah, like me too. Like I wanted her poster on my wall. Um, but anyway, that was a diversion. But Stan, I found out, has worked with and knows a lot of very famous celebrities and has actually contacted some of them about our business. We're not going to get into any specific details, but
No, but
yeah. But
I will tell
he's a
you,
networker and he builds long-term relationships with people. And yeah,
I'll tell you one, I won't say who it is, but he was just in Australia. Now he's been a good friend now for about 10 years, and he was in Australia last week. And I saw on his Facebook page he was bungee jumping off of, I think it was the Victoria Bridge or something in Australia. So
we've
what I
been,
did,
yeah, go
I
ahead.
took his photo and I animated it in AI, and I had a couple kangaroos coming from both sides. They kicked him, and he flew off the bridge, and he flies all the way down, right? And then I sent him that video. Of course, that got his attention because he thought it was very funny. But then what I did is I took a screenshot of the two kangaroos kicking him, put it on the front of a card with a nice note, and then sent him the card. So that's just a way I've been having fun lately
Yeah.
is the AI kind of manipulating things and having some fun with the photos. But in that case, yeah, he's peripherally interested at this point. We'll see.
Yeah. He's got a couple other people he has reached out to, of which one, actually, I'd heard the name of one, a professional athlete, and then one that I knew who he was. And he's created beautiful cards just using AI and with their image in it and sent it to them. And so he's really, really using the product in a way that it's designed to be used and really touching people at a personal level. So yeah, that's good. I'm excited I'm slowly reading your book because I take in the pages. I read two to four pages at a time, process it, and all that. So what are you excited about being here? This will be we'll be wrap up here in a minute, but what are you excited about regarding our company, our program, all of that?
Well, uh, if you go back a few years to the end of COVID, my speaking career and everything just kind of slowed down, you know. And I've been working on my latest book, which is about resilience, interestingly enough, having learned a lot about resilience over the years. And it's just been a little arduous, just all the other things that are the plates I've got spinning and everything. And what's interesting is now that I've gotten involved in send out cards, I have a newfound energy and excitement for not only doing that, but for writing again. I'm writing right and left. I've got three books going now that I'm working on. Um, so it's really kind of fueled my creative side back again. I don't really get writer's block. I get more writer's start, and that's not there anymore. It's really cool, and that's a big part of it. The company's really kind of energized me actually.
That's great.
It's
Well,
refreshing that there's you guys are so what's the word? Authentic and sincere. That's what I was looking for because that's what
yeah,
I'm about. That's what my book's about.
yeah. Well,
So,
I'm excited to be working with you, Stan. I know we're going to do some big, big things together, and I think there's a lot that I can learn from you, and maybe you'll learn a couple things from me along the way. I'm grateful that you stood up and handed me your bookmark that afternoon.
and
And
I am too. Thank you.
yeah. And Cody, did you want to add anything or say?
Yeah. Yeah, I would like to just, by the way, it's been delightful to sit and listen to the two of you talk. It's just been incredible. Love your stories. And it was interesting because today we had we had a post webinar from our prosperity event. I think I mentioned that earlier. And we had a bunch of our graduates that were in this webinar. And we talked about the framework that we use in our prosperity event. And a big part of manifesting is you got to be the person, and most people in the world, they go out and do a whole bunch of stuff so that they can have the stuff they want, and then they'll be the person that has the stuff. Well, that's not how manifestation works. It's completely opposite of that. So in our framework, we talk about be, do, and have. So be the person that already has the stuff, and then do the stuff as if you already have the stuff, and then you have the stuff. And then everything that we do is built around that. Now you may be wondering, why am I sharing this right now? Well, we were talking about that today, and one of our graduates, her name is Deborah DeRosa, she shared with us something that she saw and she wrote in her journal. She shared with us what is called the lighthouse theory. And she expressed what the lighthouse theory is. And what it is exactly what the two of you have been talking about. Check this out. So the lighthouse theory is this. You don't need to chase people to be seen. Just stand where you are and shine. The right ones will find you, drawn not by noise or effort, but by the quiet strength of your light. So, Stan, did you feel the light of Jordan Adler as you walked by?
Yes, I did actually. You
And
know, Well, I was going to say, and since we've gone out to dinner and we've had many conversations, and it's interesting when you get, when you have because I heard Jordan's book before. I had a preconceived notion, and I had to stop myself because I always talk. I don't like to judge a book by its cover, and meeting Jordan on a personal level, uh, I'm really looking forward to the future. I can see Jordan being a longtime friend because of that, because of the light. That's why he wears those glasses.
So bright. It's so
Right.
bright.
They're so bright.
Well,
Yeah.
again, I just think, and again, it's hearing that stories, and I'm sure that type of message is all throughout your book. I haven't had a chance to read it yet, but Jordan's already told me a few stories from your book, and I'm sure your book is filled with that kind of thing. Be the light, put yourself out there, just be the person that has the energy, and people come to you, right? And that's what you did when you walked. Jordan was the light. You were the light for him. I mean, you instantly inspired him with your bookmark and your story and stuff like that. You're just being the guy. You're just Stan. You're being Stan. You're being the guy that you stand for. You're being the person that you write about in the book. You're just out being that person, and people attract to you as a result. And that's one of the things we really teach in our courses, our journal systems, and things like that. So,
Good
yeah,
stuff.
you too. That was fantastic. And Stan,
Thank
welcome
you.
to
I'm
the
very, I'm
team.
very humbled when you guys are saying this. I want to look behind me and make sure you're not talking to somebody else.
Who's
Because
there?
yeah, but yeah, I'm enjoying. Slowly but surely, I'll get to know all of you a little better,
Yeah.
and I'm really liking what's going on right now.
Great. Great, great, great. All right, everybody, have a great week. It's a packed week of really great events and meetings, and you know, get immerse yourself in this stuff. Get into it and invite people. Get yourself out into the world and invite people to all these great things we have going on. It's kind of like Cody. What is it? The Field of Dreams. Build it and they will
Yeah,
come.
Yep.
that's
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
That's right.
So cool, man. Well, everybody have a great week. And are we wrapping up, Cody?
Yeah, I think so.
All
Dave,
right.
Walter, anything?
All
Nope.
I got to
I'm
do is
good.
just say it's on Audible, so I got it.
All
Ah,
right.
Oh, by the way, Stan, I don't know
yeah.
if you watched the comments, but people are like, "Yeah, I bought it on Audible," or "I just went to Amazon." So you're getting some orders for your book right now, which
Oh,
is great.
Awesome.
awesome,
Yep.
Yeah.
Right
awesome.
on. All
Well,
right.
All right.
I'll reach out. They can reach out. I'll answer. I look at all my emails that I can, and I like to say hello to everyone. So
Right
All
on.
right. Sounds
Nice.
Have a
great.
okay,
great week, everybody.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Stan.
Stan.
thank
Thanks,
Cool.
you.
Have a
everybody.
Bye,
great
Bye
one.
bye.
everybody.
Bye.